What is going on, deck builders? I'm your friendly neighborhood host Alex, and welcome back to yet another episode of Super Budget Commander. Today, I've got a fantastic tribal deck in store for you featuring the Panther riding superstar Aryel, Knight of Windgrace. This is an aggressive, creature-heavy, crusade-ready deck, and I hope you enjoy it. And you know the drill, a Super Budget Commander deck has a maximum price of $50, and most cards featured in this deck list can be purchased for less than $1 each. And don't be fooled by the low price tag. A Super Budget Commander deck has a clear, consistent strategy and is built to win. So without further ado, let's get started. Evildoers beware! Aryel and her Knights of the Round Table have come to deliver a beatdown. The Knight of Windgrace is the definition of value. A 4/4 with Vigilance for only 4 mana that can make 2/2 Vigilant Knight tokens and destroy creatures, plus she rides a Panther into battle? A freaking Panther? That is just amazing. This is a highly aggressive budget deck. Our goal is to play a lot of Knights and overrun our opponents with sheer force. The Orzhov color scheme isn't exactly well known for its ability to mana ramp, so we have to rely on a lot of mana rocks to get the job done. It's especially important to focus on rocks that are going to tap for either a white or a black mana. That way we can get Aryel or any of our other knights onto the battlefield as quickly as possible. I've also included Knight of the White Orchid and Sword of the Animist, which can help nab us a few extra lands in the early game. There's also Dark Ritual, which trading 1 mana for 3 is always a good deal. Finding quality card draw in black and white on a budget is pretty difficult. We have to rely mostly on cards like Sign in Blood, where we pay a little bit of life to draw a few cards. The real heavy hitter card draw spells here are ones like Underworld Connections, Mentor of the Meek, or Greed. Over the course of a long, brutal game, these spells will end up being a lot more valuable than a one-time card draw effect. And just to make sure we get all the value we can out of our 1 toughness knights, we have a Skull Clamp, so we can take them out and draw 2 cards. In order to get the most out of Aryel's creature removal ability, we need to ensure that all of our knights have Vigilance. Vigilance gives us the versatility to swing without losing potential blockers, or tap down our knights to remove our opponent's creatures. As great as Aryel's ability is, we might not always have her or other knights on the field to make it viable, so it's important to have targeted creature removal as well. And inevitably, somebody's going to play an artifact or enchantment that prevents us from attacking with our horde of knights, so we're going to need plenty of ways to remove those. I also think it's important to carry spells like Rootborn Defenses or Knight Exemplar that give all of our creatures indestructible. That way we can protect ourselves from destruction spells. My favorite interaction spells though are Living Death and Dusk Dawn. These are both fantastic ways of getting rid of our opponent's creatures and reanimating ours at the same time. And of course, there's good old Merciless Eviction, a classic way of choosing one specific thing we really don't like and exiling them all. There are a whopping 27 creatures in this deck, and 26 of those are knights. I've specifically focused on making the bulk of the knights cost between 1 and 3 mana. We need to get off to a quick, aggressive start. I've also assembled the most annoying group of knights possible. We want a lot of First Strike, Flying, Vigilance, Lifelink. That way, we can make sure we can take on any threat that comes at us. It can't just be small knights though. We need some heavy hitters who can come in and get some good damage in as well. Not only does Silverblade Paladin look pretty snazzy on his white horse, he also can give himself and any creature he's soulbound to double strike. And any good tribal deck has a handful of lords that can help buff up their fellow creatures. And using cards like Mirror Entity, we can take our little knights and turn them into real men. And you better beware of the Kinsbale Cavalier. He's charging through on his goat and giving all of our knights double strike. The Knights of the Black Rose are pretty snazzy here as well. They make us the Monarch, which is great card advantage, giving us an extra card at the end of each turn, and a 4/4 body is pretty good. The real Knight MVP here though is Kowende, the Pride of Femerif. Pair this beast with our fancy little enchantment knighthood or any of our 12 other first striking knights, and you have the makings of a total disaster for your opponents. Remember, we gotta take these knights to the gym so they can be as buff as possible and rack up combat damage like crazy. That's why we need cards like Crusade, Stoneforge Masterwork, or Shared Triumph. Call the Bloodline is an underrated card here, having the ability to get rid of cards you don't need in your hand like extra lands and turn those into 1/1 life-linking vampire knights is really cool. There are a lot of great knight creatures out there that simply put are just out of the price range of a $50 budget deck. Hakan Stromgald Scourge is one of the first knights that I would target if I was upgrading this deck. Pair him with a Buried Alive or Entomb package, and you can do a lot of nasty things from your graveyard. I'd also strongly consider adding creatures like Alenda the Dusk Rose, Grand Abolisher, or Sun Titan, who can help protect your board from removal and recur cards from your graveyard. Athreos, God of Passage, fits here nicely as well, an indestructible 5/4 for only 3 mana that puts recently deceased creatures back in your hand. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. And if you want to get the most out of that tribal theme, I'd also strongly consider Herald's Horn, Urza's Incubator, or Path of Ancestry. Being able to reduce the cost of your knights makes you that much faster, and if you get to scry every time you play a knight, that is just the cherry on top. And if you came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, you definitely need to get yourself some artifacts like Door of Destinies, Konda's Banner, Coat of Arms, or of course Eldrazi Monument. Who doesn't love knights that are indestructible, flying, hexproof, and just about every other keyword you can think of? Do yourself a favor, invest in a Phyrexian Arena, a Land Tax, and a Necropotence. That way, you can always have a hand full of spells to cast and lands to play. Cut out those high mana removal spells as well, and focus more on stuff like Path to Exile or Anguished Unmaking. Even Teferi's Protection is a good call here. It's important to have ways to disrupt our opponents, protect our board state, and do it all on the cheap. Next time on Super Budget Commander. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me today. If you like this video and you want more just like it, smash that like button. And if you're new around here, welcome to the Deck Builder Society, and don't forget to subscribe. And you know what's up, stay classy, Deck Builders. I'll see you next time.